Welcome into the Jam Happy Hour. It is Jana hanging out with you today, and we have a really special artist hanging out with us this evening. Kylie Frey is coming all the way in from Nashville, Tennessee. Hey,
Hello, hi Jana, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for jumping on and kind of virtually hanging with us in the Jam Pad, Napa, California. I am actually coming
Yeah,
in from Orlando, Florida, so basically we've got it all covered here.
I love it.
It's like music and
Coast to
wine,
coast.
universally
Yeah,
loved, coast to coast.
yep.
Are you a fan of wine?
Yes, I am. I'm not. I don't really have a refined palate like a lot of people that I know that drink wine,
Mhm.
but I pretty much like it all. I'm a fan of of cabs and
Yeah,
darker bold
yummy stuff.
wines, but I drink it all. I
Equal
Yes,
opportunity enjoyer
exactly,
of the finer
exactly.
things. Well, much
Yes.
like that, music comes in many different flavors and many different genres. And where would you kind of like put yourself in that road of like where your music comes from?
That's a really great question. So I grew up rodeoing and
Hmm.
I grew up you know, in all things Western. And so my music is very much reflective of that. And my flavor of country music is more on the Western side of things.
Hmm.
It tends to be a little bit more raw and also a little bit more bold at the same time.
As I dip my toes into the country pond here in the last couple of years, you're right. There are so many different kinds. I mean, you've got your new
Hmm.
country, you've got your old classic country, you've got Western country, and I think it's
Yep,
really cool when like you can like break it down to that kind of specific influence that
sure.
is what you grew up on. I'm assuming this was in your home, like your dad and your granddad and like the whole family. This is what they were into as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't really come from a big music family. I have no music in my family as far as like, musicians are
Hmm.
concerned. It all kind of started with me and then my brother picked it up after me. But
Fun.
yeah, my dad was more like into the Eagles and
Yeah, good harmonies.
stuff like that. And my mom was I don't know. She listened to a lot of different things, but
Hmm.
there was always like '90s country going on. I'm
Yeah.
a '90s baby, and so grew up on the Dixie Chicks
Oh,
and
so good.
and
Mm,
Shania Twain
of
and
course.
and all of that. And then I don't know. As I got older, I sort of dug back more and um, just really dug into like the men and women of country music of like
Hmm.
the late '80s and into the '70s and all of that. So
It's fun when you can dive back into it and kind of be like, oh, I see how this music from the 70s influenced the 80s and how the 80s influenced the 90s. And
yes,
now here we are, 2022 is right around the corner.
yes,
And here you are doing your thing,
right,
which is kind of fun.
yeah, it's awesome. We
I
get to
know that
drink
you put,
wine and hang out and sing songs. This is great.
I mean, in the middle of what is happening in the world, you also managed to put an EP out. Like,
I
that's
did.
exciting.
I did. It was funny because I went back home to Louisiana for a couple of months,
Hmm.
during the pandemic, and I had this song spur of the moment that I had sitting in a Dropbox that I recorded a year or two prior, and
Hmm.
I knew I was going to put it out at some point. I just didn't know when.
Hmm.
And what better to do while I'm have nothing to do than put out a song, right?
Totally.
You know. So so I was just like, you know what? I have it. It's right here. I don't have to do anything other than, promote it, which was
Right.
tough,
Yeah.
when we couldn't like shoot a video right then and there and all of your normal things that you would do to promote a
Hmm.
song, right?
Adapt.
I didn't even have like a photo shoot or anything. I didn't have any pictures. So, but my dad was a bronc rider, so we used one of his old photos as the cover art,
Oh,
and we put it out there, and it kind of just took off in its own really cool way. And there were some really big stations in Texas that picked up the song, and it really gave me a reason to record more music
hmm.
and to keep doing this thing. So yeah.
Which is also kind of special because with your dad being the cover art, the song is inspired by him, isn't it?
It's not inspired by him,
Hmm.
but I'm sure his younger self,
That's a
was a
really good way to
lot
put that.
like, yes, it's a lot like
Yes.
the guy in the song.
Yeah.
But
I didn't mean
yeah,
it like that.
no, you're good. You're fine.
Sorry, Dad. Well, speaking of the song, how about you perform Spur of the Moment for us?
Sure, sounds good.
Thank you.
Well, tonight he rides in Denver. Said we could not go together. Said he had a handful of saddle fucking. Why would I want to tag along the road? Ain't no place to write my songs. He'll be back before I even know he's gone. For my first cup of coffee, he was wound down the highway. At the spur of the moment, he's really digging in. It's digging in, digging in, digging in. Spur of the moment, that's taking him again. He's gone again, he's gone again, he's gone again. And I don't know about them horses, but I tell you what it does to me. The spur of the moment cuts deep. Well, I'll eat leftovers long, won't take my eyes off of that phone. Will he make his mark and will he drink it all? No, he ain't my mama's dream, but he's everything to me. And I won't sleep a wink until I get the call. And Lord knows loving him takes thick skin, 'cause the spur of the moment is really digging in. It's digging in, digging in, digging in. The spur of the moment has taken him again. He's gone again, he's gone again, he's gone again. And I don't know about them horses, but I tell you what it does to me. The spur of the moment cuts deep. Yeah. There's a midnight flight to Denver. I can get there if I run. The spur of the moment is really digging in. It's digging in, digging in, digging in. The spur of the moment is taking him again. He's gone again, he's gone again, he's gone again. And I don't know about them horses, but I tell you what it does to me. The spur of the moment cuts deep. Well, tonight he rides in Denver. Said we could not go together. Said he had a handful of saddle bucking broncs.
That is so good. I love those lyrics.
Oh, thank you.
It's like you really tell a story, which is a lot of fun. Like you can picture this whole thing happening, and you're like,
Yeah.
when you write a song, do you think of the lyrics and the story first? Does the music come to you? Like, how does that process come together for you?
Yeah, like for me, it's different every single time.
Fun.
Yeah, it's really strange and random, which is sometimes frustrating. But I mean, for the most part, a lot of times I'll think of an idea just pop in my head, like that one, for example. I always kind of look for like play on words, right?
Yeah.
And so spur of the moment, coming from a rodeo background, like that was kind of obvious. Like it hit me,
Hmm.
one day just driving down the road, and then I ended up just applying that idea to a real life situation that I had been in, and
Hmm.
so therefore it was kind of
Like
easy in that way because it wasn't just like pulling a story out of thin air. It was just like, oh, I'm just gonna write what I know
Yeah.
about this, So
And that a
which
lot of people can
most of
relate
the
to.
good ones, most of the good ones come from real experience for me.
Oh, for
But
sure.
it's also fun to just like m- completely make up a story, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like you said, you have a lot to pull from. And you had mentioned, obviously rodeo is a big influence on you, but it's not like you were just hanging around the rodeos. Like you were doing the rodeos. You were all
Right.
in it, like
Right.
competing. Like what was that like? At like what age did you start?
Me and my sister, we started pretty young. I want to say we were like, 5 and 6.
Oh, young, young.
Yeah. My family just, I come from a long line of cowboys, and my dad did not want us to rodeo at all because it's a tough sport, and I
Yeah.
think he would have loved if we would have been into like baseball and stuff like
Swimming.
that. Yeah, exactly. But his girls wanted a rodeo, and what do you say to that? So we
I mean,
just,
especially when it's such a part of everything that you're seeing and doing. I had a girlfriend of mine in high school. She was in barrel racing
yeah,
and used to go and watch her like compete. And I'd be like, damn, like
yeah.
that is hard. That's
Did
exciting.
you
But
go? Did you go to some barrel racings, or did you go with like? Was there just barrels going on, or was it a full on rodeo?
it was mostly barrels. We went to one. This was in North Carolina where I grew up.
Okay, cool.
So we mostly barrel races, but we'd go to a couple of the big rodeos and just be like,
Yeah,
my eyes would be wide open and my head on a swivel because it's like all this stuff that, is so second nature to you. But it's like
sure.
now I'm watching Yellowstone now and I'm feeling like I'm back in the rodeo.
Yeah, yeah. I just caught up last night.
Okay. Don't no spoilers. I just got into season 4, but how interesting is that thing's taking off? And I bet you it's influencing people into like rodeo and
It
music and
really, yes, it really is. I mean, I think there's just like a whole new appreciation for it. It's kind of funny. I feel like rodeo and the whole like Western lifestyle just it kind of comes and goes in
mhm,
waves. Like,
yeah,
um, like Wranglers are cool again, and
yeah.
um, like stuff like that. It just kind of comes and goes, and I think that show has very much helped. Um,
Bring some of that.
the Western way of life. It's brought some eyes back to it, which is really nice. It's a hard way to live,
Hmm.
um, and to grow up, and it's a hard business, and so it's nice that it's getting some recognition again, and of course, people like me that sing about it.
Yeah.
That's always good too. So
Doesn't hurt when you put a Kevin Costner in it.
that's right. I know. I
So
know.
good. I'm going to catch up later on tonight after this. But right now we're
You
talking
should.
about you, Kylie
No,
Frey.
you're fine.
I I did some little digging around on you, and I know that you put your toe in the reality TV pool there for a while.
I did.
What was that experience like?
That was interesting.
And
So
not
I
in a
was on.
bachelorette kind of way, in a singing and putting your talent out there kind of way.
Right, right, right. So the show that I was on, there's only been one season of it, which is what I was on. But it was called Real Country,
Hmm.
and so like I said before, I grew up on Shania Twain, right?
Yeah.
And so this was actually her show, and I was on her team.
Oh,
I actually got to steal like a few. Well, I didn't. That had to give them back. But like, there was one episode where I wore a belt, and then like the next night, she was wearing the same belt, and I was like, "Did you let me wear Shania's belt?" And they're like, "Yeah."
oh my God, that's
I
exciting.
know. Yeah, it was really cool, and you know, I, just to be picked by her in
Yeah.
any capacity was awesome. So it was a real full circle moment. Like I dressed up as her for career day in kindergarten, and yeah, I would have
Did you tell
never.
her that?
I did, yeah. Little Kylie would have freaked out.
I love that. And I bet you learned a lot too, though, just from like some of the industry
I
in
did.
general, but with the other performers and obviously from her, like what were some of the nuggets that you kind of took away from that?
My favorite part of that whole show, as far as the things that I learned, we got to work with some really amazing vocal coaches.
Mm.
And so that was really fun for me. And so I got a few new tricks in my bag as far as that was concerned.
Yeah.
And we got some stage coaching too, just on how to work a camera and how to, you know, move your body in ways that you wouldn't even think about that are more flattering than others, you know?
Using the
And
stage
so,
versus just standing
hmm
in one place and
hmm yeah,
oh,
it was really fascinating. I hadn't experienced any of that yet in my career, and so it taught me a lot. It also taught me that I probably do not want to participate in reality TV.
no,
But
right.
it
Lesson
it was
learned.
a it was a good taste, and it honestly it was really fun because it was a competition, obviously, but
Hmm.
all of the contestants really already had their own careers going on,
Oh, that's good.
and so it was less of like, I hate to say like a karaoke thing, but it was less of like a singing show, and it was more of like, hey, we're all just here to like showcase our artistry and
Hmm.
hopefully move our careers forward. And so we all just really bonded over it, and I made some really cool friendships from that show.
I had wondered. Yeah, that's really cool. Like you still stay in touch with some of the other
Yeah,
artists,
I
and
do. I really do.
now if people want to stay in touch with you, let's say maybe this is like the first time
Yes.
they get to to experience you and your music. Like, what is the best way to stay up to date on what you're up to?
Probably like Instagram.
It's
At
fun,
Kylie French Fry. Um,
adorable, by the way.
Thank you, thank
French
you.
fry. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, I get it.
I don't. It was really a sarcastic joke when I did that. Like when I first got my Instagram, because no
Eons
one would
ago,
get my
yeah.
name right, you know. And so I was like, I'm gonna put Kylie French Fry because obviously, but people still get my name wrong. They say, what does French fry mean? And I'm like, French fry, and they're like, oh, okay. Um, so,
You
but
love it when
really, it
that
was a
spark comes through.
sarcastic joke, and it just kind of caught on.
I love it. Well, you've got a great,
So,
like just really great energy about you, and I really have enjoyed like following you on Instagram these last couple of weeks. So good on
thanks.
ya. Um, I know we have a few more songs to get to because it is about showcasing you and your music, and I think you have a couple of
Sure.
songs coming up for us. Do you want to tell us a little bit about them?
I sure do. So, this next one is a drinking song, not for the wine people, but it is for my beer friends. And this one is called Ain't Enough Beer.
Nice.
Well, I knew I'd find you. You and your friends holding court, running me into the ground. You big man on your high horse. You told them all I'm coming back, but you just don't know how wrong you are. There ain't enough beer in this bar. Well, you think you got me pegged, that I can't do without you. Well, I beg to differ, boy. We'll see who's driving this crew. If I leave in tears. That's a wishful drinking on your part. There ain't enough beer in this bar. There ain't enough beer in this bar. Ain't enough neon on these walls. There ain't enough quarters in that jukebox for your cheating country songs. And if you think I'm gonna miss you, ain't enough lonely in my heart. There ain't enough beer in this bar. Well, don't look so surprised that I just ordered you wine. And I got more bad news. There's more where that came from. you can drink every drop, but you still won't find me in your arms. There ain't enough beer in this bar. There ain't enough beer in this bar. Ain't enough neon on these walls. There ain't enough quarters in that jukebox for your cheating country songs. And if you think I'm gonna miss you, ain't enough lonely in my heart. There ain't enough beer in this bar. Well, I knew I'd find you here, you and your friends holding court. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna play another song for y'all. This one's called One Night in Tulsa. Cheers to you and wherever you are. Happy hour. The trouble with leaving is somebody stays, and the problem with goodbye is it only goes one way. And I'd ride a buck wild Mustang, airback with no reins. I'll take a barefoot walk across Arkansas. I'd spend a month in the desert just to be together for one night in Tulsa. For one night in Tulsa. Well, the thing about lonely is there's too much time to think. Like me lying here knowing if it was all up to me, I'd ride a buck wild Mustang, airback with no reins. I'd take a barefoot walk across Arkansas. I'd spend a month in the desert just to be together for one night in Tulsa. For one night in Tulsa. Well, I'm running on empty like never before, and I miss Oklahoma, but I miss you more. And I'd ride a buck wild Mustang, bareback with no reins. I'd take a barefoot walk across Arkansas. I'd spend a month in the desert just to be together for one night in Tulsa. For one night in Tulsa. Just one night in Tulsa. Just one night in Tulsa.
That I could listen to that. That could I love the dichotomy in the two songs, though. One's just like, "Oh, I love you so much. I will do anything just to spend one night with you," and the other one is like, "No, go
Right.
away now. We're done." Clearly, two different inspirations there.
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
Are those real stories or some of your fun made-up ones?
You know what? Tulsa was a real story. Ain't Enough Beer, I actually didn't write that song. I just heard it and I loved it so much and I knew how to sing it. And
Yeah.
so I recorded it.
Well, that "Ooh Baby Baby Love," that Tulsa kind of love, that's
Yep.
some strong stuff to write a song about. That's for
Yep.
sure. Have you been doing
Mhm.
much traveling? I mean, are you getting out and being able to do shows? And what have you been up to lately?
I am. It's kind of been, it sort of picked up this year and it's kind of slowing back down.
Yeah.
We were just in Vegas for a few weeks, out there for NFR, and
You keep saying NFR, and I just want for people who may not
sure,
know NFR, that is
yeah,
the national.
National Finals Rodeo.
So that's like the big show,
That's like Super Bowl of rodeo. Yes.
and you're just like totally comfortable. Just you've been doing that. You actually, I love the story of the national anthem. That
Yeah.
you tell it. I'm sure you're going to tell it better than me, but
So,
it's so good.
my dream since I was a little girl was to sing the national anthem at the NFR. I pretty much like I got started singing the national anthem. I guess you could say that. I have no idea, but
Because
I
it
would.
used even when you were young and you were competing, you would always find
Right.
a way to sing the national anthem too. So you were like
Ex-
doing double duty as a young girl.
exactly. Yes, that was like my audience was at a
Hmm.
rodeo singing the national anthem. Other than that, I was in my bedroom or my bathroom, like playing my guitar, singing songs, just for me. But
Right.
like the audience came into play with the national anthem every
Hmm.
dang rodeo I would show up to, right?
Yes.
And so my grandpa, he always told me, he said, keep singing the anthem at every rodeo you show up to, and one day somebody's going to ask you to sing the anthem for the NFR, and that's how you're going to get your start because that's how Reba did it. And
Reba. Just
I know,
Reba.
I know it. And I thought he was the craziest person in the world, but also I kind of believed him. And so I just kept on, and I knew I'd get to it one day.
Yeah.
I was a flag girl for the NFR, so if you watch the rodeo, there's these girls carrying sponsor flags on
Hmm.
horseback, and so I did that for a couple of years. And there was one time where Brooks and Dunn was running late, and so we changed up our whole routine so that I could step in and sing the anthem in case they didn't make it. And I had on my cute outfit,
I mean, all of it.
and I was ready to roll,
And they showed up.
and they showed up.
Dang it.
They showed up. I know. And
Gonna
so,
be late. Own it. Be late.
exactly, exactly.
Aw.
So, but it took a couple years after that, and like 2020 rolled around, and because I tried every year, and when 2020 came around, I was like, I'm not gonna bother anyone. Like everyone's
Aw.
stressed out,
Right.
How do we keep still living life, And so I was not worried about it. I was like, it'll happen when it
Yeah.
happens, whatever.
Yeah.
Sure enough, that was the year that I got the call. And they said, hey, it's not going to be in Vegas this year, but we are doing it in Arlington at Globe Life Field, big
Mhm.
old arena. And would you come sing the anthem? I was like, heck yeah, I will be there. And
So
so
perfect.
I went and I showed up, and there was a guy named Randy Houser who was
Mm.
there to do Johnny Cash's Old Rugged Flag right before I sang the anthem.
Aw.
And after we both did our thing, I got to talking to him after, and he was so nice and so encouraging. And
Mhm.
I told him how much that moment had meant to me and to my family. And he heard Horses in Heaven, which is a song about my grandpa. He heard that song on the way to the bar that night,
Aw.
and he asked to sing on it. and he did.
So everything absolutely working out the
It
way that it
all
was supposed to.
fell into place. Yes. And the crazy thing about that was I was supposed to be on a different night to sing the anthem, but I ended up on the night that I did. And my aunt informed me after the fact that Old Rugged Flag was my grandpa's favorite rodeo opener.
Aw,
Yeah.
just keeps
So
going.
I know it.
That's, sometimes when you lose faith in things, you got to think about things like that. You just go, you
Yeah.
know what? There's a
Yep.
there's a reason for everything.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's so cool. And what a great,
Absolutely.
partnership to also make, just professionally and also
Sure.
in rodeo. I mean, like it's like the worlds collide.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I totally interrupted you about, thank you for telling that story. I love that story.
You're welcome.
About getting out there and getting back on the road and doing shows and traveling, like, as it comes back. I mean, do you have plans to tour or perform more, like projecting into a world where we can do all of that, and which, we are now.
Sure.
You ready to get
Yeah,
out
I
there?
think the venues. Oh, absolutely. I we hit the pavement a good bit this past year,
Hmm.
and it'll be a little bit slower going into next year. But I mean, when opportunity comes, I'm there, so I'm ready for it. And we've got some shows on the books. Um, we're kind of all over the place.
Hmm.
A lot of my shows were in Texas last year, but if you're liking what you hear in KylieFrey.com, we'll kind of be everywhere. It's very random.
Yeah, just floating around and just I think you'd be surprised, like people that are going to love the music in Connecticut versus
Sure.
Portland versus Texas.
Yeah.
Like there are country music fans absolutely everywhere, and I think
Yep.
people are just going to be a fan of you, per se, because you do have
Thank
this
you.
great energy and you tell great stories, and obviously perform. When it comes to, you said you don't come from a family of musicians per se. So did you? Obviously, you were singing at a young age, but did you also
Hmm.
get into playing the guitar at a young age?
I did. I started playing guitar. I think it was about 13.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the um, I love playing guitar so I can have something to sing to,
Right.
um, which works out really great. But yeah, I like I said, I don't come from a really musical family, so
Hmm.
I've really had to work at this thing right here. But
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I stuck with it and
Yeah.
am able to just hop on here and do this myself.
Yeah.
You
No,
know.
you play really well. And I've for some reason, I've always thought women, who can perform, play their own guitar, like there's
Sure.
just something so fierce about it. Like
Sure.
I freaking love it. So
Sure.
good on ya.
Thank
I
you.
think that's like the coolest thing. I'm like, guys, I have no musical ability whatsoever. I'm a good talker, but I can't play an instrument to save my life. So I've always been like really like kind of in awe of somebody not only who can do that, but something else at the same time too. So like you're up there doing double
Sure.
duty,
Yeah.
which is super cool. And especially when it's like if you grew up in a house with a ton of them, then it's like something you would pick up. But like you said, it's something that you have to work at, and
Yeah.
it's a labor of love.
It sure is. Yep. You gotta love it.
Well, when it comes to getting out and performing, and if given the choice, like, would you want to have like a totally like glammed up night, or are you more just like let's just come as you are, comfortable, straight for the rodeo, like cowboy bar kind of a night?
You know what? I love both.
Yeah.
I like my personality is like very one extreme or the other, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because like with my style, it's hard for me to really like stick
Hmm.
to one thing because I do love getting glammed up and
It's
you
fun.
know dressed to the nines kind of thing, but I also am a very like casual chick, so
I tell you, I
I
had
don't
to put
know.
on like the full, like the hair and the makeup and heels and a dress not too long ago, and it felt so
Mm,
odd because it's
mm.
like I hadn't been out of the house like that in a really, really long time. So yeah, I'm with you. Like a
It did
glammed
feel
up night
good.
every now and then is a
Nice.
good thing
Absolutely.
for sure. But when you do get out and you do get to perform more and travel and tour more, which I hope, is in the near future and hopefully somewhere where we can all catch you.
Yeah.
I imagine that, after all of these couple of years of us, really not getting out and doing shows, I think there's kind of like this, like, there's a gratitude for being able to go to shows now. I
Sure.
think everybody always enjoyed live music, but there's more of like
Sure.
do you feel the gratitude in the crowd of, my God, we're out and you're
I do.
performing and it just feels so good?
I do. I definitely think there's like more of a respect for live music maybe
Hmm.
than there was before, but also like um, on the opposite end of that, I feel like my appreciation for it is even more than it was before.
Hmm.
There were times where maybe I felt like I I took it for granted, and
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just really heightened my appreciation for being able to go out, and because I'm not good with these things. I'm so grateful for the live streams
Yeah.
and for you know all the social media platforms that allowed us to stay active. When
Connected without
exactly, it's
being connected.
great. It's awesome, and I'm so thankful for it. It's such a tool, but also there's nothing like just being face to face, and hearing naturally like what's coming out of someone's mouth, like
Hmm.
straight, at you. It's just a whole different experience.
Yeah.
And
Well,
for
we've
me
all,
too, playing, it's like I definitely like feed off of the energy from the crowd.
oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And I think that goes towards that appreciation as, before, like, everybody's just so dang happy to be there. and
Yeah.
just and it's like you're not even upset at like the loud talker over here and the dancer over here. It's like it's just
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
um Speaking of performing, can we get a couple more songs out of you?
Sure, sure, sure. I'm gonna play my sassy song. I think this year
I love a
has
sassy
sort
song.
of right, me too. I think this year has sort of just kind of made me step into my own shoes a little bit more and just kind of own um, the different aspects of my personality. So this one is called Miss Thing.
Okay. This thing.
Good morning, load it up, come on and let's go. This job ain't gonna get itself done, and who knows what the day is gonna bring. Whatever it is won't be a thing for Miss Thing. Yeah, I was just a baby when my mama came to me. Said if you're gonna get the bacon, gotta heat your own grease. Ain't nobody cooking for you, all you got is your good name, Miss Thing. And the ruffians drag him just like a ball and chain. Lord, I hitch my wagon to a runaway train. I strum a six string, I pick and I sing, electric rodeo queen, and you can call me Miss Thing. You can't help but see me coming when I roll through your town. Gonna wish I wasn't going, hoping I'd stick around. When you see a trail of dust and blame, you'll know who to blame. It's Miss Thing. Yeah. And the ruffians drag him just like a ball and chain. Lord, I hitch my wagon to a runaway train. I strum a six string, I pick and I sing, electric rodeo queen, and you can call me Miss Thing. Yep. Rhinestones, baby blue, cowgirl hat, snakeskin boots. This old heart ain't made of stone, it's leather lace, but it beats true. Rhinestones, baby blue, cowgirl hat, snakeskin boots. This old heart ain't made of stone, it's leather lace, but it beats true. You can call me Miss Thing. You can call me Miss Thing. Oh, 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 Miss Thing. Thank you, thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and play Horses in Heaven. Which is the song that I wrote for my grandpa. You can find it anywhere you stream music. This is currently the fastest rising song to hit the top of the Texas charts by a female. You can find it anywhere you stream music. This is Horses in Heaven featuring Mr. Randy Houser. Grandpa taught me how to ride on a buckskin mare when I was 5. He told me the way of life was in my blood. And I learned the ropes, how to hold the reins. When I got thrown, had to hide the pain. He'd give me the eye, and I'd get back up. And these days, I don't know if he's rounding up a herd of cattle, or going for rain in his old bronc saddle, or teaching a young buck a hard-learned, well-earned lesson. I don't know if he's roaming around just to pass the time somewhere up there on the other side, tacking a fence line just as the sun is setting. But y'all, I'm sure that he's riding horses in heaven. Stubborn, strong, thicker skin. I'm who I am because of him. Teaching this girl all that cowboy stuff. You may say, may he rest in peace, but he ain't resting if you ask me. If I know him, he's up there kicking up dust. I don't know if he's rounding up a herd of cattle, or going for rain in his old bronc saddle, or teaching a young buck a hard-learned, well-earned lesson. I don't know if he's roaming around just to pass the time somewhere up there on the other side, tacking a fence line just as the sun is setting. But y'all, I'm sure that he's riding horses in heaven. Well, I think the angels must have wanted a helping hand, and they needed a cowboy, not just any man. I don't know if he's rounding up a herd of cattle, or going for raid in his old bronc saddle, or teaching a young buck a hard-learned, well-earned lesson. I don't know if he's roaming around just to pass the time somewhere up there on the other side, tacking a fence line just as the sun is setting. But y'all, I'm sure that he's riding horses in heaven. Grandpa taught me how to ride on a buckskin mare when I was 5. He told me the way of life was in my blood.
There you go, telling that story again. I again, it's like you can just like picture it. What a beautiful song for your grandpa, by
Thank
the
you.
way.
That's my favorite compliment. Thank you.
And how much fun is it to actually be able to hear that song, that baby of yours, on the
Hmm.
radio?
Oh, it never gets old.
It never gets
It
old.
never. I don't think it ever will. I don't
Yeah.
think it ever will. Yeah. There's
Did you get
something
that?
about like your song. Just it sounds different. It feels different. Like when it comes on the radio.
I work in radio. There is something so like unique about it. Like when it's
Hmm.
just coming through the speakers at you, and you're
Yes.
just like, it takes on this like bigger than life kind of a feel. And
Hmm.
other people are hearing it. Like in that exact
Sure.
moment, you are sharing that moment with your song.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, for the girl driving, her truck down the road,
Uh,
or, the lady who's sitting at work listening to the radio, or,
yeah.
there's a guy who's having a really bad day and you made him think about his grandpa. I mean,
Yeah.
majority of us love to think about our grandpas
Yeah. Absolutely.
and the memories that they made
Yep.
together.
Yep.
And you're bringing that moment on, which I think is pretty cool.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, was he the one who taught you how to ride?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you miss being able to ride? Like, are you able to get out in Nashville and ride, or?
No, no, it's I don't I am it's funny because it was really weird going from like rodeo all the time
Mm-hmm.
to being in a bar all the time.
Well, different.
It was really different. And so but I kind of just decided at one point I'm just going to bust my butt at this
Mm.
and it's going to pay off one day and I'll be able to, get some horses back and get back into it. But I ride every now and then and help teach some goat time lessons and stuff
Fun.
like that. Yeah,
Kind of like fill up your batteries a little bit
exactly,
by
exactly.
doing that,
Yep.
because
Mhm.
you are putting in the work, and you're seeing the success,
Yeah.
come from being able to focus on the music, and whether it be writing songs or performing, even like in this online arena. You have had some pretty spectacular on stage moments too. Like I know you played Stagecoach, which is just
Mhm.
that's like a bucket list concert of mine. Like I have yet to experience that. What was that like?
Oh, it's awesome. And I played one of the smaller stages. It still counts. It's fine.
Yeah, it totally
Um,
counts.
but that whole festival is massive. It's probably the biggest festival I've ever been to.
Hmm.
Like played and just a fan, went
Yeah.
to the festival. But yeah, that whole thing is massive, and it was really cool because I got to see the main stage, and I got to see people, that I know of, like perform there, and I'm like, that's really cool. I can't wait to do that. I'm gonna do it. You know?
And now you are
Yeah, yeah,
out there doing the things. I know,
yeah.
with us being in between like Christmas and New Year's, everybody kind of like slows it down and gets into the holidays. And,
Hmm.
obviously we're all somewhat forced into a slower way of life right now. But what is it that you like to do? If it's not music, like what do you like to do to just kind of like turn everything off and just kind of slow it down? I mean, obviously we all put music on in the house and things that and the other, but I mean, what are some other things that you like to do?
I love to cook, and I love to bake.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's one of
baking's
those.
tricky.
Yeah, I've always been a baker.
Ah,
And then I sort of moving, out of the house, and now I'm living on my own and have to cook for
cook
myself. Like
other
I
food.
was sort of forced into it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I was because I really love it. I come from a family of really great cooks. In South
Hmm.
Louisiana, my family owns um, a food business, and so I
Hmm.
never really had to. And baking was always my thing. I love making crazy cakes and working with fondant and doing 3D
Oh, wow.
things like that. Yeah, I like
That's
really
not just
got
like
into
baking
it.
muffins. That's like baking.
No, like I got hardcore into it. It
Oh,
was kind of a
wow.
problem, but um, I love baking, and I've grown to love cooking. And so those things just really like turn my brain off. I'm focused on something.
Mm-hmm.
There's an end result, you
Yeah.
know. So I really appreciate that, especially in the music business, because like the wheels turn really slow, and things just take a while naturally in this business, and which they pay off, you know, tenfold. But it's I'll write a song and of course I'll finish it, but I never know if it's gonna end up being recorded or if it's just gonna sit in the pile of other songs that I've written. So it's nice to like accomplish something and
then switch.
Yes.
What is your like go-to comfort food meal?
Ooh, so I love baked chicken.
Oh.
But like, which you say like comfort food, but like there's a lot of butter involved.
You are Southern, girl.
Yeah, there's a lot of butter involved, and like so like baked chicken and mashed potatoes is like.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah, I actually want that right now.
Right now, it sounds really good. Next time I'm in Nashville, I'll invite myself over.
Yeah, come on.
Some of that.
Yeah.
And I have one of those neighbors who stress bakes.
Oh, that's awesome.
She dropped off so many Christmas cookies in the last couple of weeks. I was like, I hope you're that friend to someone.
That's amazing. See, my sister used to stress clean.
Oh.
And so when because obviously she like, you know, was across the hall from me. And so when she didn't have anything to clean of her own, she would come to my closet and
what
in
a
my
nice
room.
Sister.
It was a great stress habit. I never got that, but she did. So yeah.
You guys compliment each other very well.
Stress baker though, that's amazing.
Yeah, Mindy, she's a stress baker. God bless her. But hopefully not stressing out too much.
Sure.
You know, enjoying, you know, music and like I said, being home and being whatnot. Did you? Mm-hmm. Were you able to enjoy the holidays with family?
Yeah, I went down to Louisiana and hung out with my family and got to see the nieces and nephews and do all the Christmas things. So
what did they think about, you know, what you're doing now?
So it's really cool. My parents hardly ever come to Nashville because they meet me out on the road. They love it. Like I'm their reason to get away, and I see them kind of all the time because they come meet me out on the road.
That's so great.
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, my family's very supportive, and I couldn't do this whole thing if it wasn't for them.
True for that. And if they're watching, hello to the family.
Yes.
I hope you guys have been enjoying the Jam Happy Hour here with Kylie Frey. I know we've got time for maybe one more song.
Sure, yes. Let me pick up my pick.
I really have just grown to really enjoy your music. And it's just great to have on, like, just kind of in the house. And, you know, it's when you can lose yourself into some good music. Like, I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate that.
No, of course.
I'll jump on interviews sometimes and they're like, what's your name again?
No. I always try to dive in. So it's
nice when someone does their research. That's really cool. Thank you.
Well, and I know you've got new music coming up too, but we'll jump into that right after what I thought was a grammatical error. But when I listened to the song, I realized it is not. The I Do Thing.
The I Do Thing, yes.
I love this song.
Okay, here goes like this. Ready? Wild like a Mustang, it's never been my thing to settle in one place too long. I got a habit of being attracted to doing whatever I want. I'm a little more unstoned than down. Go ahead and call me misguided. Oh, I never thought that I'd get caught daydreaming of being a bride. But just my luck, I've been struck, and suddenly I'm changing my mind. 'Cause look at you, I'm starting to think I'm ready to do that I do thing. Yeah, look at you, looking at me, I'm ready to do that I do thing. Yeah. Why picket fences just just always seemed senseless. Never let my defenses down. And I wasn't planning on forever standing more partial to running around. You're a little more keeper than throwback. You look good on me and I like that. Oh, I never thought that I'd get caught daydreaming of being it right. But just my luck, lightning struck, and suddenly I'm changing my mind. 'Cause look at you, I'm starting to think I'm ready to do that I do thing. Yeah, look at you, looking at me, I'm ready to do that I do thing. Yeah. I'm a little more rhinestone than diamond. Yes, I'm gonna be Mrs. Misguided. Whoops, so I never thought that I'd get caught daydreaming of being it right. But just my luck, lightning struck, and suddenly I'm changing my mind. 'Cause look at you, I'm starting to think I'm ready to do that I do thing. Yeah, look at you, looking at me, I'm ready to do that I do thing. Look at the dresses, look at the rings, I'm ready to do that I do thing. Yeah.
You have such a way with lyrics. I mean, how fun is
Thank
that?
you.
I mean,
Thank you.
that's a talent. That is definitely a talent. And I know we only have a few more minutes left, but we did talk briefly that you've got new stuff coming out, like early, like
Yeah.
January next year.
I do, yeah. So I did a country version of Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper.
How perfect.
I love that song so much. It was in like my very first set, and I've played it since I started playing in like little dive bars and Mexican restaurants in my hometown, right?
You're right.
And so I decided, it was always in my live show, and so I decided to cut it and put a fiddle on a pop song, and it
Why not?
worked.
Why
So I have a friend, a fellow Texas music artist. Her name is Bree Bagwell, and she jumped on, and we made it into a girl power duet. And so that's going to come out in end of January. And I'm pumped for that. And we're working on new music to put out this coming year.
That sounds so exciting. I know that everybody, like you said, a ton of the music's out there on all your streaming services. You can always follow along at Kylie Frey on Instagram. Again, love. And KylieFrey.com is a great place to keep up with like shows and music. And when that song comes out, I will have a dance party in my kitchen with my daughter, and we will be
Perfect.
all about that girl power. It's been,
Love it.
this hour went by so fast, Kylie.
It really did. It really did. Yeah. Thank you for
And,
being such a great host.
I am always down to hang out with you and listen to music anytime.
Come
And
hang out with me in Nashville. Let's do it.
I'll be up there in March. Hopefully you will be too.
Sounds good. Yep.
You guys,
I'll be
please
here.
follow Kylie and support the music and the storytelling, and just keep writing these great songs. And I hope to run into you in Napa one day as well.
Yes, absolutely.
We gotta make that happen.
Let's do it.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for enjoying the Jam Happy Hour with Jam Sellers.